Hello and welcome to a continuation of my series on encounter design. It's been a long time. I've taken a break from that kind of content. I've actually taken a break from any kind of content where I break things down. It didn't seem to hit well after a while, so I kind of took a step back, focused on running Out of the Abyss. I had also started a job, and it took a lot of time away. I did try to supplement that for a bit on some other things, but we're back. We've got so many new things, and we've been getting a lot of new viewers, a lot of engagement, and something that people are very interested in or have requested are maps. And I've got so many maps for throughout the entire Out of the Abyss campaign, but I wanted to come back with some of the higher end ones. Specifically, I've been waiting to revisit this with a Demon Lord encounter, but it's there's a few things to break down with that for the reasons why I haven't. The first one is we haven't had a Demon Lord encounter in a long time. And then when we did, I didn't get to showcase the maps I actually designed. We tried something new, and it went very well, but I didn't design those maps. So I want to sit down and have a breakdown, an encounter design video about one of our very recent. We just ran this encounter for an interesting location in the Out of the Abyss book called Spiral of the Horned King. And I've homebrewed a lot of this campaign to match my style and a much more dynamic world and story. Not to say that this book isn't that. This is one of my favorite campaign books, as you well know, for a lot of reasons, and you will not agree with that. I wholeheartedly believe that. There's a reason that this is one of the fewest run campaign adventures Wizards has ever produced. But let's stick to what we're going to be breaking down today. In here, there is a region of the Underdark known as Labyrinth, and I think I want to read a little bit about it for some context to give you some of the lore. So sit down, enjoy the conversation we're about to have, and I hope I can not only give you some interesting lore and history about this region, about the Spiral of the Horned King, but then I will show you not only the map I designed to run the encounter, but a full breakdown along with the monsters I used. So, let's get started. More of the components needed for Vizeran's demon summoning ritual can be found in the depths of the Labyrinth, a snarl of twisting tunnels and caves extending approximately 240 miles from north to south and 120 miles east to west. Navigating the labyrinth is a nightmare, since most tunnels follow a straight path only a short distance before doubling back on themselves or ending abruptly. Baphomet, the Horned King, appeared in the labyrinth when the demon lords were summoned to the Underdark. At the same time, Baphomet's rival, Yeenagu, demon lord of Knolls, has taken to hunting the twisting passages of Baphomet's new domain. Vizeran tells the characters to find the Gallery of Angels, a location in the heart of the labyrinth lies some 300 miles from Mirage. It is the one place where Vizeran knows the characters can find the angel feathers required for his ritual's talisman. The maze engine lies 48 miles deeper into the labyrinth. If the characters choose to follow up on clues leading there, See the March to Nowhere and Maze Engine sections. Now, this is a completely new, unexplored region of the Underdark our group has not explored, and I think is actually rich with a lot of locations. We have the Spiral of the Horned King, we have the Adamantine Tower, and we have the Filth Riddens and the Maze Engine. Now, I worked on the Filth Riddens in our previous session, and I was so happy with how it was coming out, but I wasn't recording the audio. It annoyed me and gave me a sort of bitter taste in my mouth for the rest of the session. The players did nothing wrong. It was my fault, and it kind of turned me. But it was such a great session that led to the Spiral of the Horned King. What I had happen was that they were going to meet with Kerr, which is an actual character in Out of the Abyss. He's a gnoll who has a certain affliction with the madness in the Underdark, and he's feeling guilty for the murder, the slaughter that he's partook in, not just as on himself with his own hands, but as the leader of some gnoll packs. Kerr is very respected, and he uses that respect to sort of take a step back from leadership, but more specifically from the physical violence that his kin have been taken, as they are all now servants of Yeenoghu. They've been brainwashed. They have bent the knee to this demon lord and are scouring the Underdark for anyone they can find, kill, eat. It's a high and just gore fest. Now, they've met Kerr. He's sort of set up his own people into a trap to fight the adventurers, and they are not ready. He's also sort of given title or information about a title that Yeenoghu has bestowed upon one of the characters, which was very interesting. I thought it would be cool. I thought it would make a lot of sense for Yeenoghu to have this hate for one of the characters who has avoided being cursed by him. He has hunted this adventurer's dreams, and at every turn, he or his party has helped him come back from the savage nature of Yeenoghu's influence. They call him Zurak, or Zurak, which is an interesting name until they learn what it is. Yeenoghu has been calling him by this name, and the gnolls have been chasing him, and when they finally meet him, they're like, Zurak, and it's fun because they still don't know who Zurak is until when they reveal it. He fell in love with the name. That's his new title. He's very happy with that, which I'm grateful for. I'm glad it hit the way it's supposed to, that I intended for it to hit. But regardless, it then segued them to Kerr explaining that you are Zurak, breaker of chains. Yeenoghu wants you, and he is searching for Baphomet as well. He doesn't know you're here yet. He's chasing after Baphomet, who is looking for the Maze Engine. We know where it is, but we cannot get there. Every time we send in expedition forces, they are stopped by Baphomet's Minotaurs and Baphomet himself, who is taking to the front lines. There is a path known as the Spiral of the Horned King, which our scouts say leads straight to the Maze Engine, but is no one returns from. For a good reason. There is a very dangerous monster there that Baphomet has spent a long time cultivating in his Tower of Science, which is lore in Baphomet's historical context. He is a creator of dangerous monsters, and he does have a Tower of Science, which he uses for torture, brutal manipulation of magics to create some of the more unique and iconic monsters of his domain. Baphomet himself is the original creator of the Garistro, so there's a lot going there. So the Spiral of the Horned King. I'm going to read a bit from here as we continue on. Minotaurs have roamed the tunnels of the Labyrinth for ages, but as Baphomet's influence grows, so too has the ferocity of his chosen servants. The waxing of Baphomet's power has not gone unnoticed by the packs of gnolls rampaging through the Underdark. The gnolls have begun making inroads into Minotaur territory. The latest battlefield in the ancient feud between Baphomet and Inigo is a maze of passages that grant access to the deeper passages of the Labyrinth. Now, there is some good description here of the Spiral of the Horned King. I twisted it just a little bit to make it more of a passage that Baphomet has made sure to guard with his greatest warrior and sort of hold until he himself can make it here and go to the maze engine with his forces. Now, I would say that it is not as written, for sure, as I've mentioned, it's homebrew, but it's also descriptively different. I've made this place a bit more warm, using a bit more sandstone textures, lighter colors. I kind of had this idea that because there is lava in near the maze engine, I wanted to give a warmer approach. I don't know geology that much. I felt some things that reflected warm might have helped give that tone. And I do use a lot of black, so it was gonna be difficult to use. And some of the descriptions, they're like dark basalts. Don't really know what that would look like without googling it, but it didn't really interest me. I use that a lot. I use very dark blacks. I use dark blues. I use black to make a lot of shadows and pits, like bottomless pits. I use that very often, and you're gonna see that here. Why I needed a change in tone, like color scheme. And I was also messing with this idea, this color video I saw about how Samurai Jack was created. I used to love watching it when I was younger, but I did not at all appreciate that concept of color, of how to use it in different and the concepts that they used to animate it. So I tried something like that. I don't think I got there. I think I created a really awesome map for a really amazing night of gameplay, but I just found a lot of things to help me that inspired me to get there. Now, there's also a really good Reddit battle map someone made that reminded me that mushrooms exist in the Underdark. And though my players were in the lower dark, which I kind of had absent of mushroom life, I started bringing that back in to give some more color and more breakup into the map. I think I gave up halfway through it, though. You'll see that. But regardless, that's the context for the Spiral of the Horned King. I'm going to show you the battle map. I'm going to show it to you on Incarnate as I've designed it, and break down a little bit of my thoughts, and then after that we'll go to seeing how the encounter played out. So let's jump on over. So behold, the Spiral of the Horned King. What I've designed here is a bit of a not full maze, but a more of a like a chase like feeling, and The concept started a little bit with just, as always, I just start on the entrance, and when I start on these entrances, I try to have them give a little bit of a feeling of openness that the players can move around a little bit before they obviously run into encounters. I gave them two choices of directions to go. One is an evocative of the dead end, and the other is the path forward. Now, this was where a bunch of gnolls, and in all of these areas, gnolls would be fighting minotaurs at about 60% of their health. Everyone's, sort of outnumbered and whatnot. And battle is raging throughout all these tunnels as they all face off against each other, the gnolls and the minotaurs. Now, the big enemy was that I wanted it to be a minotaur. I wanted it to be a minotaur that really embodied Baphomet's will. Now, I really do not like repeating monsters, and early on a random encounter night, I did a undead minotaur, and then recently I did another undead minotaur when they face off against Orcus's forces. Now, I wish that either I didn't have that need to not do that, or to not always make something new, but it pushes me to not have a lot of repetition. These were finally the first time we were going to be facing regular minotaurs, but that wasn't the point. The point was for me to create something that was very evocative of Baphomet, and we have already faced one of his servants, a rage demon, which was a minotaur-like creature, but this was gonna be like the old school mythological creations where you're just gonna have to run from it. Now, my players are 12th level, and they are very powerful. They have a legendary holy sword bestowed upon one of them. They have an artificer who's concocted a ton of new magic items from them. They are all jacked up. But this was not an encounter designed to let them just, you attack, I attack, you attack, I attack. I wanted it to feel dynamic. I wanted tension. I wanted urgency. So I wrapped him in enchanted Black Steel and cast a powerful infernal spell on him that not only made his AC insane, but when he would with magic that was meant to hinder or change him in any negative way would not work. Just straight up, he is a tank. And like adventurers, they'll figure a way out to kill him. That's not the problem. That's not a problem. But here's the point. The spell is so powerful and binding that after they would chip him away and break off chunks of his armor, his AC would reduce. But if they were to kill him, then after a round or two, he would come back to life and all of the armor would reattach to the proper places, and they'd have to do it all over again. So it was not a test of can we kill him. It was a test of should we kill him to buy us time? Where do we even go? And that was the thing. They end up realizing they had to, after they killed him, they were like, we can't stay here. We have to keep going forward. That looks like a dead end. Let's go across the bridge. They go across the bridge, start running. Dun 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 dun. The Minotaur chases after them, hits some of them, and he was hitting like a freight train. He's got black fire that he would shoot out, and it did some damage, but it also blinded them, which made them confused on which way they could go. So I played on the kind of terror aspect of running from something that just can't be stopped. But one of them rolled an Arcana check to realize that this is not only a very powerful spell that prevents them from using magic against it and will keep bringing this creature back, but the source of this magic has to be close. And it was going to be this heart sitting on this, um, sitting on this sort of stone platform around this body of blood and skulls. Now, overall, this map took me not long to make. I started here and it took me a while, but once this got finished, I had the idea of the bridge, because I was like, I don't want it to just be that this was a dead end and then this was the right path. I was like, what if the path forward is just always dangerous? And that's when the black pit of dying came from. So I've done this before. I have usually a lot of these, but not in this context. Not like, I've played with this idea of them falling to their death with Master Krasnokar encounter with the Beholder, and some other ones. The Dead Man's Fall, I've done that. But I think this was different because there was urgency to it. It felt like there was a timer. The creature, this Black Steel Minitaur, was weighing laced to nose and killing them in one hit. And they try to fight him a little bit because that's what they do. They run up. They're adventurers. We're super powerful. I got this awesome sword. Why wouldn't I be able to kill it? And they got beaten. They got beaten. They eventually took him down. And then, beaten and bloodied, it started to reform, and they were like, run. And they started running. They kept running down this way, and then when they got across, they saw some Minotaurs fighting some gnolls down here. They waited for everyone to get across the bridge, and then the Artificer cast Shatter, and it was like, yeah, Bridge of Khazad-dûm. It's like, fuck you. And then the Minotaur was like, as I'm falling and you're falling, I'm gonna go straight for you. And he did, and he hit a big hit on the Artificer as they were both falling, and he knocked him unconscious. And it was gonna be death. There was no way he was getting out of there. They do have a flying carpet, so they could have raced against time and try to catch him before they hit the bottom. But instead, damn, I'm spoiling too much. I'm sorry. I meant to just break down the map. I got too excited. Maybe I should do it this way. Save some time. Make the video a little more condensed. That way we don't have to go to the tokens. Let's try it this way. If we end up liking this sort of breakdown where I rant and get super excited about it, that I just skip the part where we show where the tokens are, then that'll be fine. Because it is an encounter breakdown anyway. I think you guys are here for the map more than anything else. So we'll do it this way. But yeah, it kind of played out cinematically. It played out how I thought it should. That doesn't mean they couldn't have tried many other things. But as he got hit by the Minotaur, the Barbarian used the Cloud Rune to transfer the damage to someone else, which was a gnoll, and it exploded that gnoll, which was cool. Now, the Black Steel Minitaur, I had some names for him. I think I ended up calling him like Tharok something, but he doesn't know his name. He's been tortured and cast infernal runes on his body and wrapped in all this steel. He doesn't know his name, nor would he speak to the players if he could. So this alone became like, this was just chaos, and then this was cinematic, and then they thought they lost him. They cleaned up the Minotaur, killed the gnolls, and started climbing, and there was another Minotaur with some more gnolls fighting, and they cleaned that up too. They felt good. They felt safe, which was nice. But I kept the music playing. I kept everything going where it felt like there was a time crunch. That's when they got here, and the Minotaur was gone. But instead, what had happened was, when they jumped across, they saw that there was these Flynns and gnolls fighting one more Minotaur. Now all the gnolls they had been facing had been very weak, and they've cleaned up easily, along with the Minotaur. But what they didn't realize, there were a bunch of Flynns and a pack lord, fighting the Minotaur. So when they went to go kill them real quick, the Flynns turned on them and started wrecking havoc with their flails, and the flail of paralysis and flail of pain, and the extra attack they got with the pack lord. That even the paladin went down here, and they were not ready for it. He was literally throwing his legendary sword across here, because he ran up realizing that not only were the gnolls a bit dangerous, there was something over here, and that's when the Minotaur returned, and it came up and like started wailing on all of them, taking down the bard, and they were just having a battle up here, just on this platform, and it was going crazy. Eventually, the druid broke the bridge again, sinking him to another death, and the paladin decided to keep throwing his sword towards this to try to break it, so to deal with the Minotaur. But he just hadn't realized that these weren't regular gnolls. Insert critical role joke. They were Flynns, and they started wrecking them. They took him down to 0. Orcus Resilience brought him back. He finally took them down, broke the heart. The creature and spell were no more, and then they cleaned up the gnolls before wrapping up this encounter. Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this video didn't go too long. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I hope you like the map. The map will be available for free on technically Reddit. I don't have another avenue to post the maps like this. I do post them mostly in Out of the Abyss to avoid getting my posts taken down. I really don't like Reddit, to be honest, but it is one of the few places that I've been able to post something and then get some good feedback from by usually like-minded individuals. Once you go to the larger Reddit posts, you have to deal with the Reddit moderators, who are just... I don't like them. But yeah, so thank you again for watching. This is the Spiral of the Horned King. It is not at all as written in the book. You could use this as a different encounter. You could make it a little bit more mazy. You could use different monsters. You don't have to use the Black Steel Minitaur. The mechanic behind him was after every 50 or so hit points, his AC would go down. Now, I wanted his AC to be 29. Did I start at 29? I think I started at 27. Yeah. So I started at 27, and they were not hitting him. And they were like, oh, shit. But once they hit him the first time, like enough to get that first chunk down, his AC went to 26, then to 25. Still really high ACs, but it played on the mechanics of the monsters, the story, the lore of it. And that's something I would recommend you do when designing an encounter. I would try to make a map that feels like there's a bigger purpose to getting through it, and the race to get to the maze engine, putting you guys on this urgent clock, was part of that. Having a creature that could really get you moving through it was the hard part. Originally I had thought of I think they're called Basilbols. They're like certain demon devils. They're fiendish, obviously, but I was gonna have it just like manipulating monsters and making them explode and turn into like monstrosities, and then you'd have to fight a monstrosity here and a monstrosity there. I'm trying to find where this creature is, but I couldn't account for what if they were just too clever, held monster on him or something, and then it was over. Not that that wouldn't have been fun, but I wanted something that really let them touch that fear and urgency. Lastly, I think not only did it do well, it stretched for a long part of the night, which is what I wanted. I failed when I made the Kruthic final layer because I made a massive map. It just went straight, and there were some cool mechanics. But because the map was so large and the players were still so new, I didn't create a way for them to explore the mechanics, the map, the scale, and I feel like I wasted making such a good map because I just didn't know how to push pace. And I think this map created pace in a way that I haven't had often. So hope you enjoyed it. It will be posted on the Reddits, and please check out some of the other content. Show your support by just letting me know that you like it or don't like it, what you want changed, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be that you absolutely love the design. Just let me know in some concept if you're interested in using it or any of the maps. It really goes a long way. I'm really hoping to revitalize the series. I have a ton of maps ready and waiting to go. I just have to sit down, take some time, make a breakdown, and then edit it up a little bit. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. I need a better outro though. I don't have. I need something that sticks.